Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button, so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks.
The hands that raise you are never meant to beg for shelter. The moment you forget that, life will teach you the hard way. My name is Karen Morris, and I'm from Greenville, South Carolina, and let me tell you something straight. I never thought the boy I gave everything to would one day treat me like a burden. You either pay rent starting next month or get out, Mom. I'm not running a charity. That's what he said to me. My own son. My baby boy standing in my kitchen, throwing ultimatums like he was some landlord and I was a squatter he found on Craigslist. And the worst part? He said it in front of his girlfriend. Loud. Like he wanted her to hear it. Like he wanted to show her just how powerful and in control he was. I froze. I didn't know if I should scream, cry, or laugh in his face. But then she giggled, that fake, smug kind of laugh that makes your skin crawl, and that's when I snapped. You have the audacity to talk to me like that? In my house? I changed your diapers with my own 2 hands, Tyler. You wouldn't know what work was if it punched you in the face. He rolled his eyes like a brat. Yeah, well, times have changed, Mom. You either keep up or get left behind. You can't live here for free anymore just because you used to be my mother. Used to be. His words hit harder than any punch I've ever taken. That used to be sliced right through me, like all the birthdays I planned, the nights I stayed awake during his asthma attacks, the money I skipped meals to save for his field trips. None of it mattered anymore. Who raised you like this? I shouted, stepping forward, my voice shaking from rage and heartbreak. Because it sure as hell wasn't me. Tyler didn't flinch. He crossed his arms like some heartless manager about to fire an employee. I'm giving you a month, okay? 1 month. You figure it out. Maybe you can get a job at one of those grocery stores that still hire seniors. Or go live with Aunt Lisa. But you're not living here for free anymore. End of discussion. I stepped so close to him I could smell the cologne I bought him last Christmas. I'm not your tenant. I'm your mother. You better fix your tone before I fix it for you. Oh, here we go, his girlfriend mumbled behind him. Always the victim, huh, Karen? Maybe if you had money, this wouldn't be an issue. I turned toward her like a lioness. You don't get to speak. This is between me and my son. And if you think for 1 second I'm going to beg either of you, you've got another thing coming. That was it. The fuse was lit. Tyler pointed at the door. If you don't like it, you can leave now. I laughed. Not a kind laugh, a bitter, tired one that comes from years of betrayal. Don't worry. I will. But not before I leave you something you'll never forget. You want to know what that something was? Let me take you back. Let me show you what happens when a mother decides she's done being walked on. When the woman who built your foundation decides to shake it. Because that day, in that kitchen, my son thought he was making a power move. He had no idea what storm he had just unleashed. That was the moment everything changed. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't pack. I didn't even scream into a pillow. I just sat there at the table I paid for, in the house I helped him renovate with my retirement, and made a plan. Because when you're a mother, you don't always fight back with fists. Sometimes you fight back with silence. With strategy. With strength. And baby, when I moved like a woman with nothing to lose. If you've ever been betrayed by your own blood, if you've ever been disrespected by the very people you raised, then keep watching. Because this isn't just a story about a mom getting kicked out, it's a story about reclaiming your power, your pride, and your peace. Don't scroll. Don't look away. Because the next 40 minutes will show you exactly what happens. When the person you thought was weak decides they've had enough. The next morning, I woke up before the sun. Not because I had things to do, but because I couldn't sleep knowing my own child saw me as disposable. I walked past his bedroom door. Heard them laughing, tangled in each other like nothing had happened. Like throwing your mother out was some regular Tuesday errand. I stood there for a second, long enough to hear him say something that twisted the knife even deeper. She'll leave. Watch. She always does. She doesn't have the spine to actually fight back. I didn't cry. I didn't knock. I just smiled. Because I knew he had no idea what kind of storm was coming. You see, I spent my life being the nice one. The helper. The fixer. The one who stepped back so everyone else could shine. But something in me snapped that day. Something permanent. This wasn't just about rent. This was about respect. And once you lose that, it's war. I went to the garage first. The same garage I'd spent 3 summers turning into a little workshop for Tyler when he was obsessed with building things. It still smelled like paint and oil and broken promises. I pulled out a folder. The one labeled Property Title, Joint Ownership. Because guess what? While he was out acting like the king of this house, the deed still had my name on it. He didn't read the fine print. But I had. I co-signed that mortgage. I funded the renovation with the savings from my late husband. I built that house, and not just with money. With sweat. With meals made between 2 jobs. With furniture I hauled myself when he was too busy to help. So no, I wasn't just going to walk out empty-handed. I was going to remind him exactly whose name built that life. I made 2 calls. One to the county office to confirm the deed still held my legal claim. The second to a friend from church, Sheila. God bless her, she worked in property law and owed me a favor. By 2 p.m., I was in Sheila's office signing a withdrawal agreement. Not only was I pulling out my ownership, I was triggering the clause in the contract that forced a full reassessment of ownership due to primary resident hostility. In plain English, if he wanted to keep the house, he'd have to buy out my share in cash in 30 days. And if he couldn't, the house would be sold. To the highest bidder. Guess who had the right to approve or deny that bidder? Me. But I wasn't done. I went home. Quietly. Calmly. Walked back into that kitchen where the war began. He looked confused seeing me smile. What? He said, arms crossed like I was bothering his peace. Oh, nothing, I said, pouring myself some tea. Just wanted to let you know. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Thought I'd give you the heads up, wouldn't want to disrupt your routine. He scoffed, probably thinking he'd won. Good. I was worried you were gonna drag this out. I smiled again. Don't worry, baby. I never drag anything out. I just finish what I start. He didn't even ask where I was going. He didn't care. Not until he got the certified letter in the mail 3 days later. 3 days. That's how long it took before I got the first call from him. Mom? What the hell is this? Why is the bank calling me? What do you mean I owe $86,000? Oh, sweetie, I said calmly. That's your half of the home equity I built. You said I didn't pay rent. Turns out, I paid for half your life. You can't do this. Oh, but I can. And I did. You'll ruin me. No, Tyler, I said coldly. You did that yourself. The day you looked your mother in the eyes and saw a bill instead of a blessing. Click. That was the day he realized. This wasn't about money. It was about what happens when you burn the last bridge you ever had. Because when you show someone you don't value them, don't be shocked when they take their value with them. I don't know what exactly Tyler expected when he said those words to me, but deep down, I know he thought I'd never follow through. She's just a mom. She won't actually do it. She's bluffing. That's the problem, isn't it? People think mothers are soft. They see the meals, the hugs, the sacrifices, and mistake it all for weakness. They forget that behind every bedtime story and scraped knee bandage is a woman who's had to bury parts of herself to keep others alive. Tyler wasn't scared. Not at first. He strutted around like it was just a misunderstanding. Like the letter from the lawyer would vanish if he ignored it long enough. I'm not paying you a cent, he told me on the phone. You're bluffing. You wouldn't do that to your own kid. I didn't even argue. I just said, check your bank account, sweetheart. The lien's already been placed. That got his attention. Suddenly, his voice changed. His confidence cracked. Wait. What the hell do you mean a lien? I mean the value of the house is frozen until we settle. Try refinancing now. Try selling. Try paying that girlfriend of yours to stick around with no house in your name. Silence. Then rage. You're insane. You're actually insane. And there it was, the shift. The moment where your child stops seeing you as a pushover and starts realizing you are the storm. He'd taken me for granted so long. He forgot I was the one who taught him to speak, to fight, to survive. But unlike him, I never needed to yell to make an earthquake. The next week was chaos. He called every relative, painting himself the victim. She's trying to ruin my life. She's trying to make me homeless. All because I asked her to pitch in. What he didn't say was that for 3 years, I'd paid for groceries, utility bills, cleaned his messes, took care of his laundry while he laid on the couch and played video games. All while recovering from a back injury that made standing for more than 15 minutes unbearable. I never charged him a dime. But the minute I stopped being convenient, I became disposable. Now suddenly, I was evil. Funny how people rewrite the story when it doesn't serve them anymore. Aunt Lisa called. She's your mother, Tyler. What the hell is wrong with you? Uncle Greg called. You gave her an ultimatum? Who do you think you are? Even his girlfriend's parents got involved. Karen, we had no idea. I thought you were just staying with him for a few months. Oh no, honey. I wasn't staying. I was supporting. I wasn't using him. I was saving him from the life his own laziness was dragging him toward. And that girlfriend of his? She left. The minute the house was under threat, she vanished like smoke. Packed her bags, blocked his number, left a note that said, I'm not going down with you. Your mom scares me. Good. She should have been scared. Because I had one last move to make. I scheduled a house appraisal. Had the assessor come in, clipboard and all, walking through my kitchen, my floors, my backyard garden I'd planted from scratch. Tyler watched like a ghost. You're really going through with this? I didn't even look at him. I just said, you made it clear you don't need me. Now the house doesn't either. He tried one last thing. He got on his knees, tears in his eyes, like it was a movie. Please, Mom. Please don't sell it. I messed up. I shouldn't have said what I said. I was stressed. You know I didn't mean it. I'll do better. I'll pay rent. I'll cook. I'll clean. I looked him dead in the eyes. You made your choice. Now live in it. And I walked out calm, steady, not because I didn't love him, but because I finally loved myself enough to stop letting him treat me like furniture he could rearrange when it got inconvenient. 2 weeks later, the for sale sign was planted into the front yard like a flag in a battlefield. I didn't flinch. Tyler did. He stood at the window every morning, arms folded, pacing like a caged animal. Like he was waiting for someone to wake him up from a bad dream. But this wasn't a dream. This was the consequence of biting the hand that had been feeding him, emotionally and financially, for years. I didn't rub it in his face. I didn't need to. The silence between us was loud enough to break walls. And the day the offers came in, he tried again. Mom, listen. I don't want to lose the house. I don't want you to go. I was just stressed, okay? You don't know what it's like being a man these days. The pressure. The expectations. I snapped. I shouldn't have. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just nodded slowly and said, you know what the difference is, Tyler? You snapped, and I survived. That shut him up. He tried calling the bank to fight the lien. Too late. He tried negotiating the buyout amount with my lawyer. Too bad. He even tried to get Aunt Lisa to loan him the money. She said no. Told him he needed to grow up and start acting like someone raised right. And then came the sale. The house sold for $276,000, a clean, solid offer from a retired couple who planned to move in with their grandkids. After fees, taxes, and the lawyer's cut, my half came out to around $131,000. You know what I did with that money? I started over. I rented a small cottage 2 towns over. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Paid the full year in advance. Decorated it with fresh linens and secondhand joy. I planted herbs by the window, just like I used to back when life was simple. I slept in a bed that faced the sunrise. I cooked meals just for me. For the first time in years. I rested. No slamming doors. No guilt trips. No passive-aggressive sighs. Just peace. But as for Tyler? Oh, the real loss hadn't even started yet. Because the thing about entitlement is that it rots everything. Once someone sees love as something owed instead of given, they stop nurturing it. They stop respecting it. They think it'll always be there, no matter how badly they treat it. So when I walked away, Tyler didn't just lose a house. He lost me. He lost the woman who held him while he cried over his first breakup. The woman who stayed up in hospital waiting rooms, pacing for hours when he had pneumonia. The woman who worked doubles at the diner to make sure he had name-brand shoes and a damn Xbox while pretending she didn't need new glasses. He lost his mother. Not through death. Through disappointment. Weeks passed. Then months. He sent messages. Long ones. Emotional ones. Guilt-ridden ones. You were right. I'm sorry. I miss you. Not once did I block him. But I didn't reply either. Because apologies mean nothing without change. He even tried mailing me a gift on Mother's Day. A box of chocolate and a $50 gift card to a grocery store. I laughed. Not because I didn't appreciate the gesture, but because I used to be the one who couldn't afford groceries. Now here he was, sending guilt money from the ashes of a house he used to rule like a king. And me? I was finally free. I realized something during those quiet mornings in the cottage. Something deep. Sometimes you have to break your own heart to protect your soul. And walking away from your own child? Yes, it'll tear something inside you. But staying in a house where love is measured in dollars? That'll destroy everything. One night, I stood outside barefoot, watching the stars. No drama. No yelling. No noise. And for the first time in my entire life, I heard myself breathe. It was a Tuesday. Quiet, still, the kind of morning where even the birds seem like they're whispering. I was watering my herb pots on the windowsill, rosemary, mint, basil, watching the steam rise from my coffee when I heard it. 3 knocks. Not loud. Not rushed. Just heavy. I opened the door. And there he was. Tyler. Standing on my porch like a stranger. His clothes were wrinkled, eyes bloodshot, a duffel bag slung over one shoulder. No girlfriend. No car in sight. Just him. And silence. Hey, he said, his voice barely a whisper. I didn't say anything. I just looked him over. That duffel bag told me everything I needed to know. He had nowhere else to go. I didn't know where else to go, he said finally. I've been staying on a friend's couch, but I wore out my welcome. I crossed my arms. And you think I'm the next couch? No, he said quickly. I don't want a couch. I want to talk. Just 5 minutes. Please. I stepped aside. Let him in. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed to look him in the eye one last time. He sat on the edge of the kitchen chair like a boy who'd just been called to the principal's office. The silence stretched. He avoided eye contact. He picked at the strap of his bag. You hungry? I asked flatly. He looked up. Surprised. A little. I opened the fridge, took out some leftover stew. Heated it in the microwave. Poured him a glass of water. Not out of kindness. Out of habit. Because no matter how broken a mother gets, some things just stay. But I kept it simple. No napkin. No smile. No soft touches. When I placed the bowl in front of him, I said, eat. Then talk. He didn't say grace. Didn't thank me. Just shoveled spoon after spoon like he hadn't eaten in days. That part hurt. But not enough to forget. When he finished, he finally looked up, his eyes full of something I hadn't seen in a long time. Humility. I messed up, he said. I know. You don't need to say it. I know I messed up bad. I stayed quiet. Let him carry the weight. I thought I was proving something. I thought if I put my foot down and made you pay your share, it would make me feel like a man. He looked down. Shook his head. Instead, it just made me feel empty. I nodded. Funny how that works. I thought you'd never actually leave, he continued. I figured you'd yell, slam a few doors, maybe guilt-trip me a bit, but then get over it. Like always. But I didn't, I said. He nodded. No, you really didn't. You left. You sold the house. You walked away like I was nothing to you. I leaned forward, locking eyes with him. You weren't nothing, Tyler. You were everything. That's why it hurts so bad. That's why I had to go. He swallowed hard. I thought about calling you every day, but I didn't know what to say. Try sorry, I said. I am. I waited. For real this time, he added. I'm sorry I disrespected you. I'm sorry I used you. I'm sorry I forgot that. Being my mom didn't mean you were my maid. That was the first time I believed him. But I still had to ask the question. So, Why are you really here? He didn't flinch. Because I have nothing left. No place. No plan. No money. And I don't deserve your help. But I'm hoping you'll give me a chance to earn it. There it was. Not a demand. Not an expectation. A request. I looked at him long and hard. This was still my son. My flesh. My baby. But he had to understand that coming home doesn't erase the damage done. It takes more than a hug to rebuild a burnt bridge. I'll let you stay, I said slowly. But not out of pity. Out of principle. You want to stay here? You'll earn it. Chores. Bills. Every Sunday, you volunteer at the shelter with me. No skipping. No excuses. He nodded. Okay. I'll do it. All of it. You disrespect me again once and you're gone. Understand? He nodded again. Eyes wet. I understand. Good, I said. Because this time, I'm not saving you from rock bottom. I'm letting you climb out of it yourself. That night, as he slept on my couch, not the guest bed, the couch, I sat in my room and stared at the ceiling. And for the first time in a long, long while, I felt hope. Not just for him, but for me. Because this time, the power wasn't in punishing him. It was in showing him how to rebuild. One boundary at a time. It didn't happen overnight. The first few weeks were stiff. Quiet. We moved around each other like strangers renting the same space. I cooked. He cleaned. We shared air, but not much else. He woke up early, helped with the garden, folded laundry, took out trash without being asked. He never once complained. But he also never called me mom. It was always, Karen, do you need help with this? Karen, is this your mail? Karen, can I use the car? Like we were two adults. Not mother and son. And I let it be. Because healing doesn't come with deadlines. But something changed the day we went to the shelter. It was the third Sunday since he'd moved in. He dragged his feet that morning, still half asleep. But he didn't fight it. Didn't argue. We got there, put on aprons, and served hot meals to women and children who'd had everything taken from them. Abuse survivors. Runaways. Mothers with black eyes and empty wallets. At one point, Tyler paused while handing out plates. He stood frozen, staring at a little boy clinging to his mother's leg. The kid couldn't have been older than 6. And his mom, she had that same tired, hollow look I used to carry. That I'll hold it together just long enough kind of look. I watched Tyler blink fast, turn away, swallow something thick in his throat. He didn't say a word until we got in the car. Was that what I looked like? He asked suddenly. I didn't respond. He nodded to himself. I used to think we were just broke. That we were unlucky. I didn't know you were fighting like that. I looked at him. You weren't supposed to. That was my job. Yours was to grow. But I didn't grow, he said, choking on his own truth. I got older. I got louder. I got selfish. But I didn't grow. He turned to me, really looking at me. I'm sorry, Mom. That word. After all that time. After all the cold silences and broken trust. He said it. Not because he needed something. Not because he was cornered. He said it from the place where truth lives. Where boys remember the lap they used to cry in. Where sons remember who held them up when the world tried to push them down. I didn't cry then. I just reached over and held his hand. Warm. Stronger than I remembered. I forgive you, I whispered. Because I did. And not just for him. For me. For all the nights I sat wondering if I'd raised a stranger. For the guilt. The shame. The heartbreak. It melted in that moment. Over the next few months, we rebuilt. Slowly. He got a job part-time at first, then full-time at a local mechanic shop. He started making real meals, not microwave ones. He offered to pay bills. Insisted on it. We started watching shows together again. Sometimes laughed till we cried. Other nights, we sat in silence, the good kind. The peaceful kind. And then came my birthday. I didn't expect much. I never do. A quiet dinner would have been enough. But Tyler? He surprised me with something else. He cooked. From scratch. Baked a lopsided cake. Even cleaned the kitchen. Then, just before I blew out the candles, he handed me a card. It wasn't fancy. Just handwritten words in shaky blue ink. But when I opened it, I froze. Because it didn't say to Karen. It said, to the strongest woman I've ever known, my mom. I looked up. He was standing there, nervous, rubbing the back of his neck. I mean it, he said. You're my mom. Not just the woman who raised me. You're the woman who woke me up. Who saved me from turning into a man I wouldn't have even respected. That's when I cried. Right there in my little kitchen with the herb pots on the windowsill. I cried not because I was sad, but because I finally got my son back. And this time, he saw me. Not as a burden. Not as a bank. Not as someone too old or too easy to ignore. But as his mother. So to anyone out there listening, if someone in your life is treating you like you're replaceable, like your value only goes as far as what you can provide, leave. Not to punish them, but to protect yourself. To remind them and yourself that love is not something earned through guilt or fear. It's given, nurtured, and honored. And if they come back, truly come back, you'll know. Because this time, they'll call you by your real name. The one they forgot for a while. Mom.